Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, the Benj and B. What you watching on TV? For tonight's video, we have jumped into the second episode of season 1 of the Creep Tapes. It's pretty short, sweet, simple, to the point. I'm gonna recap this one and then give my opinion on it. If you don't know, it is a show that is streaming on AMC Plus, where SHUDDER happens to be a hub, but I watch it through AMC Plus, so that's where I'm streaming it from right now. Again, Wolfie is the anti-hero. In this episode, we are introduced to Elliot. Elliot it looks like he's some sort of amateur bird watcher or some shit. Basically, he's out in the middle of nowhere by himself, and he's filming, of course. As he is filming, he actually kind of stumbles upon a parachute and a boot. Obviously, that's a little different. So he goes up to the parachute and the boot. We're all kind of bracing ourselves for like, what the fuck is this? What's going on? So he lifts the parachute and there's nothing there. So as he's kind of looking around like, oh, that's weird. Then our friend Wolfie shows up doing this whole production, and he's like, he can't breathe, like hyperventilating, and like just, this motherfucker is crazy. Like, I don't know how else to put it. So he's hyperventilating, he's losing his shit. They begin to talk. He's going through all of these theatrics. They fall onto the ground. As they're sitting there, this is where Wolfie realizes that Elliot has a camera. He looks at the camera and he offers Elliot $1,000 to film some footage for him. So here's the backstory. Apparently, he is 100 miles from the drop point where he was, he was skydiving. He did not land upon his target. According to him, he 100 miles away, which is probably a bit of an exaggeration. Of course, we know it's probably a bold-faced ass lie because it's him. So his request from Elliot is to help him film footage in order to sue the company that he went skydiving with. Elliot already has the footage of him hyperventilating and, you know, almost about to die. He actually wants to film official footage that he can use in a lawsuit to sue the company that he was skydiving with. As they are getting ready to film the footage, he has kind of a meltdown. He's like, oh, I don't want to be too emotional. And then Elliot actually comforts him in a way and is like, nah, I think you're doing good. Like, you know, just we'll keep it. And Wolfie has this weird way with the psychological games. He does this weird push and pull thing with people emotionally. I guess what I like about watching him the most is he knows how to tap into what gets to a person. And it's interesting to see him do that in such a short amount of time. I would like to see more of a backstory, like how he selects these people, like how he chooses who he's gonna hunt. It feels like he goes into this knowing them a little bit better than what we get in the 20-minute session that we watching. He grabs the camera, he turns the camera on Elliot, and he's trying to get to know him. He's like, well, what you doing out here? You know, and so Elliot is like, yo, I'm out here looking for a bird, part of some sort of society, and this is what we do, and I'm out here looking for a particular bird. And Wolfie then uses that to his benefit. Like, oh, is it a bird that's blue with orange eyebrows or whatever the bird looks like? Elliot's like, yeah, I think that's the bird. And so Wolfie convinces him that, oh, I just saw that bird. Like, where your car? Let's take your car and I'm gonna take you to the bird. They get into the car to go up there to head towards the bird. Now, one thing that struck me a little bit about the whole going towards the bird, as they're going to look for the bird, apparently this is Elliot's car, but Wolfie is driving. And I'm like, why the fuck would you let this dude just take your keys and drive your, or like, couldn't he just point it out? Like, what fool? Child, bless Elliot. He's cute and sweet, but he was not very smart. So they drive. Wolfie's driving. He convinces Elliot that he sees the bird. So Elliot like jumps out the car to see if he can get a closer look at the bird. Of course, he don't find no damn bird. As he goes back to the car, now remind you, Wolfie is driving. I cannot stress that enough because it was such a mindfuck to me that this weird ass dude is driving this strange man's car. Elliot doesn't see the bird. He goes back to the car where he left Wolfie. And there's no sign of Wolfie anywhere, right? He's like, oh, well, maybe he jumped out. So he kind of looks around the car a little bit and goes to the back of the car. And then remember, they're in the middle of nowhere. So it's not like he could have jumped out and ran and hid behind a tree or some shit. He's somewhere close, but we can't figure out where he's at. So finally, he opens the door to look in the car. And then Wolfie jumps up and scares the shit out of him. And that pissed Elliot off. So he runs off. And there's an interesting exchange here because I guess this is Wolfie shooting his shot. He liked Elliot and basically he wanted the point to be, while we're out here looking for the special bird, you got a special bird in front of you, right? Wolfie shoots his shot. Elliot is like, okay. I guess he didn't really respond in the way that Wolfie wanted him to. Because of this, he decides to play a little push and pull with it. Goes back to the car and he's like, hey, well, let's go. As Wolfie gets back in the car to drive the car, he gets in, he locks the doors, and he won't let Elliot get He won't let Elliot back in his own car. But you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like being in a bad relationship with somebody. I guess this is what the folks, you know, gaslighting and some of the narcissists and some of these other like buzzwords that people like to throw around. This is gaslighting in real time. Because he's doing all these up and down push and pulls, and like Elliot wants to believe that he's not nuts, but then he knows he's nuts, and his whole objective now is to just get possession of his vehicle. There's a whole, you know, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes where they're going through this thing, this push and pull. They finally get to a point where they move a little bit further down the road. The dialogue in this part is really important because you can see this dance that Wolfie is doing with Elliot, where he's wanting Elliot to like accept him, I guess. And I'm not sure if this is just like a friendship request or if it's like a romantic gesture. Obviously, it's neither one of those things because this motherfucker is crazy. Whether it's one or the other, in his case, it don't matter no way, right? Because you come across him, your ass is doomed. That's just really what that boils down to. It's fascinating to watch. So anyway, they get down the road a little bit further. Now, I will backtrack and say that there's a point where they're in the car, when they first get in the car, where Wolfie specifically says to Elliot, you got to see this bird before you die. Fast forward through all of the mild arguments and the push and pull and the, you know, him trying to take the car and getting locked out the car. And then we get to this point, right? So we go up a little further. There's a little bit more dialogue where Wolfie is kind of pouring his heart out to him. And he's like, oh, well, you know, I wish you would pick the regular bird instead of the special bird. And then they pause and Wolfie sees the bird. So he's like, hey, Elliot, look. There go the bird. And Elliot is not going for the bullshit, so he just kind of like, whatever. Wolfie takes the camera from Elliot, turns the camera on him, so now we see him and he hands him some binoculars. So he gets the binoculars, he looks out, sure enough, there goes a special bird. And then Wolfie positions a proposition to Elliot. The proposition is, do you want the special bird or do you want the regular bird? So Elliot, I don't think took him very seriously. So I don't know if Elliot is just like really dumb as fuck, or maybe he just wasn't paying attention, or I don't know if he even cared about the context in which Wolfie is talking to him or not. He chose a special bird. Like, he's like, look, that's what I'm out here for, so I'm finna go look at this bird. So he goes out a little further. He goes and he picks the bird. So essentially he made his choice. Wolfie puts down the camera. He approaches him with a plastic bag as he's looking for the bird. The humor mixed with tragedy, I know it's intentional because of the style that, you know, Duplass tends to have, but it is just really well done, right? Because this scene to me is actually funny until it's not. Scene is funny until it ain't funny no more. But anyway, so he approaches him with the bag, and Elliot is kind of like, what you doing? So he gets up and he runs, and it's playful. It's like almost this playful thing where they're kind of running around and Elliot kind of dodges him, and then he trips and falls, and he got to see the special bird before he died. So that's the recap portion of the Creep Tapes, episode 2 for season 1. Y'all already know what I'm gonna say. If you've been listening to anything I've been saying, if you watched the review I did on the first episode, I'm already a fan, period. But it's just really, really good. This is a really good episode. I really enjoyed the dialogue. I guess it's because of how real it seems. When you watch that dialogue between him and his victims, even in some of the other episodes, it seems to pave the understanding of how this kind of shit can happen in real life. Because I think when we think of, you know, the horrific news stories in real life and like some of the true crime things that we learn about over time, and we tend to think of it as kind of an otherworldly, like super taboo, avoidable. Think of it as like larger than life, just super rare. But when you watch his interaction with the people that he chooses, it just becomes a little more easy to see how that kind of thing can happen in real life. It's kind of a learning tool. This is a fascinating study on psychology. Now, I have never studied psychology officially or, you know, in any kind of academic sense, and I really don't have a desire to, but authentically studying people and watching people and seeing how they move, like, this is a good way to see some of how the demons that people carry, how they manifest into real world. It is also really clear how some people tend to get away with things like this, right? Because when you think of nuts and crazy, you think of crazy. You think of, oh, the crazy eyes and the, you know, he had the demon stare and this and that. It almost never shows up like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's episode 2. I'm about to get on the next episode. And so I will see y'all again real soon with that recap and review. That's all I got to say about that shit, y'all. It's your girl, the Benjamin B. I'm gonna go find me something else to watch on TV. I'm gonna talk to you soon. Bye.